Hey man, we're gonna jump right in and just kind of talk about a little bit of your upbringing. Growing up in Michigan. I've kind of done a little tracking on you, see where you from. Michigan's kind of like the South when it comes to football. It's hardcore when it comes to football. And so you're a big guy. Tell us about a little bit about your upbringing.
So I grew up two-parent household. I have I have two brothers and a sister. My parents, they grew up playing. We played college basketball.
Okay.
So I was kind of more of a basketball. My dad also was a golfer too in college, which is pretty crazy. Golf and basketball. We grew up on a golf course. My grandpa owned a golf course and we lived on it. So I was a huge golfer, huge basketball growing up. AU basketball. And I got into football too early. I was a 3-sport athlete, but football was never my favorite. And it
Oh,
kind of
really?
grew on me as I got older. And I just fell in love with the team camaraderie part of it.
Yeah. Did your body grow out of this whole mindset of being a golfer?
Yeah, kind of. When you're 6'6", there's not too many tall, lengthy golfers. So that kind of got away from it. It kind of stuck to I just love playing basketball and football.
Yeah.
So I was a quarterback, loved playing quarterback basketball. Just loved having the ball in my hands in that aspect.
Yeah. And so when you were, from the high school standpoint, going to high school, were you recruited as a basketball guy? Or you were just recruited as a football player?
So I went to Lake Orion High School my freshman year. My freshman year, I was on varsity 3-sport athlete. I was varsity football, golf, and basketball. I was a backup quarterback on varsity, and then I was started for basketball as a varsity as a freshman. And I was really good. I was like the number 2 on the team as a golfer, average like
Oh, a subtle flex. Here you go. Look at these guys flexing on me right now.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I was a 3-sport, and I ended up next year I transferred high schools. I went to Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and I just gave up golf and really just focusing on really trying to be a Division I quarterback when I made the switch. Still playing AU basketball, traveling EYBL circuits all over. My dad was 6'8", so I never got his.
Your dad was 6'8"?
Yeah, so I never really got his height.
Wow.
My mom's 5'8", but I never really got his height. I feel like to make it to the league now, if you're not, it's tough. You got to be a dog. You got to be a real dog, but
I mean, having I'm a point guard right now.
I'm a point guard. I'm a point guard in the league at 6'5".
Right.
But yeah, I was a really good basketball player though. I had out of high school, I had probably D2. I was like D2. I was going to try to go play D2 both sports, football and basketball. I always wanted to play quarterback. That was my dream. Try to walk on schools. They wouldn't take me. Try to go the FC. I could have went FCS and played probably both, but just didn't like it. And I ended up going to Fork Union Military Academy in Virginia. Okay. It's a military prep school, and
you still playing quarterback?
Yeah, still playing quarterback. Yeah. Still trying to get offered. Still trying to get looks. I ended up breaking my foot that 2019 season, or 2018 season. It was 2018. I break my foot at Fuma my last couple of games. Didn't really get to play. And I was gonna. He was like, he walked on to me. He ended up walking on my Memphis, my best friend. And so he was like, you want to try to see if you can walk on there to play anything, like tight end, quarterback, or whatever? I was like, yeah, I don't really have much. He ended up showing him my film, and they ended up giving me a walk-on spot at Memphis. I was going to early enroll because at prep school, at postgrad, it's only a 4-month process. It's like a 5th year of high school.
Yeah.
So it's basically like another year eligibility of high school without wasting a year of college. And then I ended up getting the spot, trying to walk on. But I was like, I'm just going to wait till the summertime because my broken foot, I didn't want to go in.
Right.
I was also going to try to see if I could get anywhere else to try to enroll for the next upcoming fall. Try to enroll in the summer. Try to get on the team in the summer. Too many roster spots. I enrolled 2019 in August. I enrolled in school first as a walk-on. And I didn't join the team till 5th game during the season. Went right to tight end. And the rest.
Oh, man.
So a really crazy story. A lot of people don't.
Well, my question for you, though, like when you talk about this height and this size, what was that thing that made you feel that quarterback was a position for you?
I always thought quarterbacks, I've always been like one of my traits I've had is being like a really smart football player. I could throw it. I was good, but just never got the opportunity. I feel like if I got the opportunity in college, I would have made the most of it. But no one ever gave me the opportunity. People were always like, you could play tight end. I always had that basketball background, hands, like feet, just knowing where to be, size, and just really a lot of people saw it because the way I catch the football. Because I just always had that aspect, just playing so much basketball. I feel like helped me in that area. And then they just like, you want to schools in high school would be like, you can come play tight end for us. We'll give you a chance. and I just be like, no, I want to play quarterback. I always shut them down, but then end up working out for me.
But playing quarterback though, how did it really prepare you to play tight end? Because you have to know everybody's job. You know what to do. You know where as a quarterback, you know where you want your tight end at. And so, did that transition help you from quarterback to tight end to play that position really well?
Oh yeah, I think it's helped me more than. I feel like that's still my biggest trait today. Just knowing coverages, knowing where to be, knowing just like spatial awareness. A lot of people don't have that. I feel like savviness to find zones and stuff like that. Just knowing where to be. I think that's probably my biggest trait today. I think it's just my football IQ.
Yeah. Now, again, the quarterbacks are not known for their hands. Where did the hands come from?
I don't know. I think just a lot. I played so much basketball, AU. Just even when you're a quarterback, you always got to catch footballs and they throw it back to you. Just you feel like if you don't have a receiver or someone snapping to you, you always got to catch the football coming back to you. So just so much of that stuff and hand-eye coordination stuff just growing up.
Yeah. So you make that transition from quarterback to tight end, but that first transition is from prep school to Memphis. So you start out the University of Memphis. What made you decide to go to Memphis, being that, hey, I still want to play quarterback, because you were still training to play quarterback.
Yeah, I was still training to play quarterback. And as soon as I got on the team, they're like, yeah, we kind of want you to just move here to tight end. And I went right to scout team.
But did they recruit you to say, we'll take you as a quarterback?
Kind of both. Like, we'll take you as anything. And I was like, okay. At that point, like, you just like so much like whatever. Like, you just don't care. You just want to play football at that point. So I was like, I'll just go right. I'll play tight end. I'll do whatever. I just want to be on the team. I just want to play.
Yeah.
And I saw that was probably maybe my fastest way on the field too, going to Memphis. And really just, I went right this 215-pound quarterback, sharing a locker as a walk-on, all this stuff. And then really just try to put as much weight on as my first year and just doing whatever I can to stay on the team and work hard, really.
Now, when you broke your foot, that didn't help you put on weight? You wasn't sitting around just eating?
Yeah, I was at home sitting around eating, but I was like, I'm still trying to play quarterback. So because I didn't know what position I was going to play. So I kind of thinned up and still trying to play quarterback, still throwing all the time, but just end up then moving to tight end.
All right. So take me through your first week of real practice at Memphis. You coming from prep school, now you're in Conference USA. Memphis still Conference USA. All these conferences are shifting.
They're AAC.
Mm-hmm. So take me through that transition coming from prep school, and now you go from not being hit, quarterback saying don't touch the quarterback. Now you got to line up and you're playing down in the trenches with the big boys. How was that transition?
That was probably my hardest transition, because I've never played any other position really in my life, especially blocking. I never played any position in high school but quarterback. I played a little bit in Little League, but like it wasn't that much. So I never really saw the physicality of the game as much. Yeah. Like blocking, inserting on plays. That really, because I was 215 pounds, never got in a 3-point stance before. And I'm going right to scout team versus grown men that, and we had a really good team that year. We ended up going to the Cotton Bowl, but just blocking some of those guys. Some of them are still in NFL today, and it's a lot different. It made me really take the weight room very seriously from there on out, and just really just get stronger as much bigger as I could.
How long did it take you mentally to say, all right, because I would assume the first time you get that physicality, you're like, I'm going back to quarterback. How long did it take you to get in the mindset of like, hey, you know what, I can do this?
Yeah, definitely. I knew I could do it, like the athletic ability, that stuff, but the physicality, it took me a couple of years to really just get stronger in the weight room. Really, a lot of reps. I was on that one-man sled probably more than anybody that's ever been on that one-man sled before. And just really, just so many reps, just each and every day, every week, just trying to get ready so I could make that step and play. Because I had to work my way up. Freshman year, when I walked on, I went right to scout team that whole year. Then COVID hit, 2020, and I didn't get a spring ball to show what I could do. So I come back like a little bit bigger in this, like 250, my redshirt freshman year. Come back bigger redshirt freshman year. I was like 9th string on the depth chart, because like we didn't have spring ball to show what I could do.
Right.
And I had a really good camp, and I ended up being like 5th string going to so I was maybe on the travel squad, maybe not, because I had 4 older guys ahead of me that played played downs, played special teams. So I had to sit behind them. And then kind of COVID throughout that season, I kind of worked my way towards the end of the season as a redshirt freshman. But really just taking the easy steps. Like I was on scout team half the year, going back and forth, just trying to know the offense, just taking all the steps to become successful.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you in the era where the transfer portal is real. You know, how did you stay and sit behind guys, and what was your mindset to, you know what, I'm going to sit here and learn this position behind these guys, and not have the mindset of like, you know what, if I'm not going to play, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, that was probably one of the biggest challenges that I always knew I always felt like I wasn't ready yet.
Yeah.
That's how I always thought. Like I've seen guys like my first year at 2019, I watched Antonio Gibson. He was the running back. He's still in the league right now. I think he's with the Patriots. He only had 1 year of really good college football and ended up third round draft pick. So sometimes it only takes one. I kind of seen those guys and seeing the tight ends ahead of me kind of work their way up, walk-ons like Joey Magnifico, he was ahead of me in Memphis, and Sean Dykes just kind of worked their way up the depth chart and ended up playing and having great careers. Just seeing people like that, I feel like sometimes it's better to wait. That's why I have a little brother that he actually plays at the University of Michigan. I always tell him the same thing, like just take the baby steps. Just worry about yourself and getting better, because the rest will take care of itself when the time comes.
Yeah. Now you sit, you wait, you're learning. I mean, I think that's the mindset when you know, a lot of people get distracted when it comes to the social media and they think they're ready, but you knew in your heart of hearts that, hey, I'm not ready, so I'm gonna sit here and learn. And so at what moment in your career that you realize, like, all right, I'm ready to play?
Yeah, when I was Memphis, my redshirt junior year, I had a couple games, or I think one game, my first really breakout game, I had 2 touchdowns at Arkansas State, and then I think the following game at ECU, I had like over 100 yards in like the first 3 quarters, first half, and then UCF had a really good game too. At that time they had all the big dogs still in the comp with the UCFs, the Houstons. They were still before they all hit the Big 12. But yeah, that's when I feel like I just gained confidence throughout that season early on, and that's what helped propel me these last couple of years as well.
I mean, it sounds like you were having some good years there in Memphis. You know, if we start to think about, when I start thinking about my Rebels here, you know, what went into this decision for you to decide to say, you know what, I want to take my talents and move down to, you know, just a little bit further down south. What was that decision like?
Yeah, it was definitely a tough decision. I was at Memphis 4 years. I had my son in Memphis. I met my wife in Memphis, and my wife's family's from Memphis, so all that stuff. But really, I always felt like people they have always doubted me or didn't believe in me. They didn't think when I walked onto Memphis, they probably didn't think I was going to end up being an all-conference player. I mean, a lot of people don't think like that. And people thought I'd never play in the SEC. Never thought I'd play in the SEC. Some of the coaches told me that you'll never play in the SEC. I ended up playing in the SEC. I feel like I've always proved people wrong.
Yeah,
and that's something I still live by today.
So this decision was about proving yourself right and proving people wrong.
Yeah, and then also just playing the SEC. I mean, there's nothing better than the SEC. I mean, you're going to at Florida, you're going to at LSU, at Georgia, at Alabama. I mean, at Auburn. There's some of the best environments in college football. Memories you'll have for the rest of your life, and you get to play against the best each and every week. That's something I couldn't turn down.
Man, as a rebel, a strong rebel over here, man. I remember, when they signed you, and I'm thinking about the competition you was going to have. I think the tight end was at the time Trig. They brought in from USC. You're going to be competing with this guy. Like, what was your mindset to go in and say, "Hey, I'm going in to win this job. This job is going to be mine."
Yeah, I really just going in to work as hard as possibly can, do anything I can to win the job on and off the field, and just being a good person in the locker room, working hard, especially in strength staff, getting extra reps with the QB. But really, at the end of the day, I feel like at worst, when I thought going to that situation, I was like, we're going to play 12 personnel because that's how talented he is. So that's how I thought how talented he was as a player. But I ended up just kind of working his way out. But I ended up getting hurt before the season, what kind of hurt me last year. I had a 4th metatarsal, like a stress reaction in my foot. Kind of took me out the first 3 games. But I just really just going in, putting your head down and getting to work.
Yeah. Well, I know my Rebel fans, they were excited to see you come, and you didn't disappoint. You had a really good career there. How did you, coming from Memphis, Michigan, different places, how did you ingratiate yourself so quickly in Oxford, man? I know that. I mean, that's one of my favorite places. And like when I walk around that town, I see your jersey everywhere. How did you ingratiate yourself so quickly there?
Really just being a good person in the community, just doing anything I can, just on and off the field. Really, I feel like kind of having a wife that kind of helps me on and off the field because I have a son and then I have a daughter now, but I had only my son at the time. Just her kind of balancing that stuff off the field kind of helps me get to do what I get to do each and every day. I'm so thankful and grateful for that. But really, just I mean, I love the Oxford community. It's the best. It's the best atmosphere, best place, and that's why. Oh no, I'll always be back there whenever I can.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to make sure you're back there. They got me on the committee to make sure our guys get back there now. So I'm definitely going to be calling you now. You talk about you have a son, now you have a daughter. Like, how did you balance that, or having a kid early on in college? Because I know, think about myself as a young kid. My mom had me when she was young, and I couldn't imagine having a kid while I was still in college playing ball, because it's not only you're having practice, now you have class, you have practice, you got workouts, and now with the whole transfer portal, NIL, and all this space. There's a lot of responsibilities from, media reports and all these different things like that. And so how did you balance that process?
So I had my son my redshirt sophomore year right before I was actually on scholarship. So I got on scholarship my redshirt sophomore right before the season. So I had my son redshirt sophomore year right like August 4th, right before the season. I got on scholarship middle of training camp or middle of fall camp. And so ever since then, I feel like once I had my son, that kind of changed me because I feel like he's got something to look up to and see how hard I work and see what I do and see what I'm about. So I can't like take a day off, take a rep off. So that's something that kind of helped change me, and that's what helped me go harder in the off season as well. But the balancing wise, I feel like my wife does a great job in just like taking care of stuff at home, what I like, what I need, what she needs, and just having that person off the field that you can go to. And she's been awesome and wonderful. But also, my kid's older now, so he gets to go to school, so that kind of helps balance it these last couple of years. But at first, it was definitely challenging, getting up middle of the night, wanting a bottle. But it's honestly the best thing in the world. And I feel like I wouldn't change any of it. It's changed me and helped me for the better.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for our wives, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, to go through our schedule and still, hold the house down, and then take care of the big baby when they come home. I mean, praise to them.
Oh yeah.
All the praise to them. Now, I would tell you, my daughter is a huge fan of not yours.
I know.
Of your son. And we go to Oxford, and first thing she's doing is looking, scanning the stands, looking for him. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? She's like, Dad, can you went to school here? Can you get me on the field? I want to like at least be able to go and like pick him up. And I'm like, you can't go pick up someone else's kid. So
that's funny.
So he is famous.
Oh,
you have a famous son now.
Oh yeah. My wife, my son, I think they are famous in Oxford. They are famous around. They get noticed more than me.
Now, as you are, getting yourself settled in Oxford, Mississippi, are you thinking about NFL? Is that a goal that you are trying to pursue?
Oh yeah, it's a goal I'm trying to pursue. Trying to really just kind of, like I said, like just kind of prove everybody wrong. I mean, people probably don't think I still can play in the NFL today. Just try really whatever happens. If I get drafted late round or if I get UDFA signed, I'm just gonna make the most of my shot.
Yeah, and so that being your mindset as you're finishing up. You're playing with a guy in Jackson Dart. I mean, he can do it all.
Oh, yeah.
And how did he make the game easy for you as a tight end, but as a blocker? I mean, because you got a guy who can run the ball and throw the ball. It when you're blocking those DNs, it makes the job a little easier. To give me some of that magic that you guys had there.
Yeah, I feel like his just ultimate competitiveness and leadership, just on and off the field, just taking guys on Thursday, we're going over the whole script, all the receivers and tight ends, just going over the whole script, just getting to know, doing a walkthrough, just on our own, all of us, just getting this little stuff like that. You see that you want to go all out for him when the game time comes, because he can. And when he gets time in the pocket, when he gets like he shreds the defense as you saw this year, and he can also run. He's tough as anybody. I mean,
He's tough as nails,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, that's definitely one of the toughest dudes I've been around. Ankle, he gets hurt versus Jordan, his ankle rolls up on, and he's still trying to run somebody over in the third and fourth quarter. So get the almost respect for him as a leader and competitor, and I feel like that's why when we're in the locker room or something, when we're playing a 2v2 game, he's always picking me, and we're always picking each other. In anything, well, it doesn't matter anything.
So take me into a locker room. How is the locker room like? I played for Pete Carroll, and Lane is a Pete Carroll disciple guy,
Yeah.
and I know the type of games we would play in the locker room and the characters that we had, and so take us inside the locker room and who was the funniest guy that was on this team this year, and then what was one of the favorite games you guys played in the locker room?
Yeah, the best was probably our team meetings during fall camp. A lot of them went viral where they were playing like 2v2 versus coaches. They said,
B Brown. I played with B Brown. I saw him get dunked on.
Yeah, he kind of got like crossed up a little bit, but just like those moments, I feel like not too many other like head coaches or even coaches around the country are doing that. Just having fun with their kids and having coaches. Just little stuff like that you just don't really see or are a part of. I feel like that's what makes our locker room so great. Just that stuff, the coaches and player, like how they bond. But the funniest person in the locker room, Diego Pounds is pretty funny. The left tackle. He's the left tackle from He transferred over from North Carolina. He's pretty funny.
Okay. All right. I got to get him on and get some funnies out of him. Now, you talk about that mindset of having a lot of fun, having a lot of freedom in the locker room. And like I said, I played for Pete Carroll, and that locker room was, like that, has a lot of freedom, a lot of fun. How did you guys manage that? Being so young, that you still had a job to do, but you could do this in a fun environment. How did you guys manage that, and how did you guys hold each other accountable? I would say to hey, it's time to lock in now.
Yeah, I feel like we had a lot of good veteran leadership, especially that came back from the years prior, like me, Jackson Dart, Trey Harris, Jordan Watkins, even some of the defensive. We had a lot of veteran linemen and the defensive players like JJ McGeese and Jared Ivey. A lot of them have been there for a while, and they kind of understand like what mission we were on this past year. But I feel like we did a great job of balancing because when we were going to work, we went to work and we didn't hold anything back. And I feel like with that, you can only do that with certain veteran guys, but you can't do that every year. But it was awesome.
Yeah, when you have new guys coming in, because Lane is known to going in the transfer portal, bringing in a lot of different guys, and so how do you help those guys get caught up to, hey, we're gonna have some fun, but it's time to lock in? How did you guys handle those transition of different players coming in and out, year in and year out?
We handled that well. Our strength coach does a great job of like bringing everybody together, and we do a lot of stuff like in the off season. Like I think we went paintballing last year with the whole team, which like stuff like that people don't really see, but it helps bring the team camaraderie together, and just having stuff like that and just seeing it, just doing stuff in the locker room. Like there's stuff now like we have like ping pong. Everyone's around the ping pong table now, and the pool tables and just stuff like that. Just helps bring the team together.
I really enjoy watching that team play because it's the first time as I'm an Ole Miss guy, but the depth that we've had in our locker room from the first string, second string has been a tremendous shift and change there. So it's been really fun to see. So I'm excited to see what happens next year. But right now, as we're looking at, just your future and where you're headed, and you're talking about, just from a tight end position, which guy right now in the league that you're watching, and what intangible do you see from the guy that you really enjoy watching that is like, that's the guy that I want to model my game after?
I watch a lot of them, but I feel like I take little stuff. I try to take little stuff from each of them. I feel like I'm not like Kelsey, just the way he gets open versus zones and the way he reads coverage. And I know that him and Mahomes are on a certain like pedestal, but I feel like that's something I've always had in my, like try to have in my game, and I have in my game because he was a former quarterback as well. Just watching other guys like Kittle, just the way he runs off the football, I feel it. Just a lot of people just don't really see that. He just runs off the football and the way he blocks, and then just other guys. I love watching Sam Laporta up in Detroit. Yeah, he's awesome. I'm a huge Lions fan. Just taking certain stuff from certain guys.
Well, I like to do this segment that, call it 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes going into halftime. So it just some little soft tossers that, when we we'll throw out at you. Your favorite moment from your college experience?
I love winning the Egg Bowl, honestly. I love beating
Yeah,
Mississippi
that's
State.
what I'm talking about. Let's
I love beating
go.
Mississippi State.
Let's go.
I love
The toughest defender you ever faced?
toughest defender, Harold Perkins,
Okay.
LSU.
LSU. Yeah.
It's how fast he is and the way he's all over the field.
All right. Do you have any pregame superstitions?
I feel like I just have a certain stretching routine I have to do every game.
I just kind of asked you a question about the tight ends, but if you had to pick one tight end to model your game after, who would it be?
Sam Laporta.
Just because you're a Detroit fan. All right, okay. No, he's a really good player. All right. Last one for you. If you can replay one play in your college career, what play would that be?
Peach Bowl, something from the Peach Bowl. I don't know. The one hand catch by on the sideline.
Did the place erupt?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Caden, I know that you're here in Nashville. You're getting prepped for the draft. What's your mindset? What's your goals for making that transition from college to the pros, being drafted, handling that spotlight, handling that pressure, because the pressure shifts into a completely different vibe. What's your mindset as you're getting ready for that?
Just get my body in the best shape possible, mentally and physically. Just training to keep my head down, not worrying about like the outside noise of you might go this place or you might get an opportunity here. Just taking this stuff into pro day and keep my head down and getting to work, because I know at the end of the day I'm gonna get an opportunity. You just got to really make the most of your opportunity, like I did when I got to college, when I was a walk on, just working my way up, just taking advantage of the opportunities that are given to me.
And I've gone through this process. Sitting in the room, board, getting on the board, drawing up plays. What do you want a GM and a coach to see when you go sit in these rooms, you doing these interviews? What is that thing that you want them, that when you walk out the door, you've left an impression on them?
Really, how much I love the game of football. How much I feel like you can't really show that unless you're on the. People see it, but they don't really know how much you love the game of football. That's something I want to show to people and show to teams, and whenever I get the opportunity.
And just to help you here, to talk about, so people can see how much you love football. What is it about football that you love so much, and what has football done for you that you have this reverence for it?
I feel like the game of football is just giving me just something, motivation, just stuff. I met my wife through football. I met so many certain relationships, connections through football that I love and I cherish so much. And the way how much my dad's like poured into me, he poured into me at a young age, just working hard and just so much with the work ethic. And I feel like, and my mom as well, just there's no reason not to go hard. To see how much they poured into me, I got to pour into the game.
Yeah. And so, is there one part of this draft process that you're nervous about?
Nothing. Nothing really. I just can't wait to play football. Yeah. All this 40 and all this stuff, bench press. Let's play football. I feel like I'm more of a football player and all that stuff.
But you got to go through it.
Yeah,
you got to
go do it.
It's part of it. But at the end of the day, you're just ready to line up. Let's get after it.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
My piece of advice would also to be is, once you get there, now you got to realize how much more work it has to go into it. And so making sure that you're keeping your eyes forward on that goal as well. But as I started to really think about, this process for you, and what I'm excited about is the intangibles that you're bringing to the table, the things that, that hard work and that work ethic that you have, that these coaches are going to be able to see. And so when you start thinking about, these different intangibles for yourself, what are the intangibles that you want the coach to see? When you're talking about coachability, character, leadership, composure, grit, resilience, what are some of the intangibles that sticks out for you that you say, hey, coach, I want these coaches and GM to know these about me?
The grit and type of leader I am, just the hard worker I am, just on and off the field. leading by. I feel like I'm a big lead by example guy. Just always doing the right thing in the community, around the facilities. As a father, I feel like a lot of people. I just want to overall as just being a good person. I feel like I just want these GMs and people to see. And then the football side, just like the football IQ part, knowing the game, knowing where to be, just seeing stuff that other people don't see. I feel like that helps me get a step ahead to defenders or even assignments, blocking wise, stuff like that.
Well, as we start to really wrap up here, I always like to ask, guys who at your position, knowing that there's younger athletes coming behind you, what piece of advice would you give them, as they're trying to get to where you are and where you're headed?
My story, being a walk-on, just never give up on your dreams, even when other people are telling you you might not be able to do this, you might not be able to do that. Just I always tell people, I tell my brother, just put your head down and let the other stuff take care of itself. That's one thing I tell my brother. Probably whenever he gets down, he sees other people playing as a freshman, and all this stuff. Just put your head down and work, and it's gonna come.
Yeah. And how do you help him manage that? You talk about your brother. How do you help him manage that when there's so much distraction, so much social, and like this is what you could be doing, or this person leaving, going here? How do you help him manage that?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, especially like you see it all over social media, the NIL, that people get this, people get that, people are playing here. But sometimes, in my situation, it was better to wait. I got that when I got the opportunity. You just got to make the most of the opportunity given to you. Waiting behind veteran players, he's kind of in the same boat, waiting behind veteran players. The opportunity will come. You just got to make the most of it.
Yeah. My last question for you, which is this has been fantastic. As you think about your leaving college, what is that legacy you felt like you've left behind as you move? And again, it's not complete yet. You're moving to the next stage, but leaving college, what piece of legacy of who Caden is that you left in college that you feel proud and happy to leave?
I feel like I left an awesome legacy. I was at a school for 4 years, and I feel like I left it better than I found it, honestly. That's how I felt. And then going to a tight end room before that, they didn't really have that much depth in the tight end room, and it kind of helped transpire the tight end room as well in Oxford. But yeah, I feel like I left both places better than I found it, and that's something I feel like not too many people can say.
Man, you just gave me chills. That's one of my favorite sayings. One of my old coaches, David Cutcliffe, who coached me at Ole Miss, that was his big push to us every single day. Let's leave a place better than found it. You heard it here. Caden left the Rebels better than he found it, and we're excited to have you. We're excited for your future. We're rooting for you. I just to sit here and have a young man who has the charisma that you have, I'm really thrilled that you were able to join me, talk about your journey. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. This is awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.